Hi everyone, I'm Natsuko. I'm a regular office worker living in Tokyo. Today I went out with my younger brother in Ginza to enjoy a full-course meal of Omi beef, which is one of the top brands of Wagyu in Japan, known for its tenderness and rich flavor. I'll share a little bit about it while chatting with you. The meal started with a colorful salad and 5 kinds of namuru, Korean-style seasoned vegetables, along with a glass of sparkling wine. Right after that, the next plate arrived: yukgae, a Korean-style beef tartar, seared silent sushi, and the chef's special dish of the day, which I totally forgot what it was. It had been forever since I last had seared sirloin sushi, and oh my god, it tasted like heaven. My brother usually lives in Kagawa Prefecture with our parents, but since he came all the way to Tokyo this time, I wanted to treat him to something special. He recently took the bar exam, so I wanted to give him a little treat to celebrate his hard work. It's actually been 9 months since I last saw my brother. We ended up talking mostly about family stuff, so I couldn't really use our conversations in this video. On top of that, I was too busy enjoying the moment and forgot to film much. So this turned out to be a short video, but I hope you enjoy it anyway. As I mentioned in my previous hiking video, in Japan, it's pretty common for people who grew up in the countryside to leave home around the age of 18 when they go to university. So it's not unusual for siblings to end up living far apart from each other. In my case, I'd say my brother and I get along really well, but even then, we only see each other maybe 5 times a year at most. Of course, we could meet more often, but we both have our own lives, and I guess this bit of distance feels just about right for us. Of course, I can't generalize. I'm sure it's different depending on whether you have brothers or sisters. But from what I've seen overseas, siblings seem to meet way more often. Sometimes it even looks like they are dating. That's how much time they spend together. At first, I was really surprised by that, but honestly, I think it's kind of nice. That kind of obvious family love feels really warm, and I admire it. And here comes the first main meat platter. We got premium salted beef tongue, premium scallop steak, Omi beef steak cuts from the finest parts, lean Omi beef steak cuts, and even Hinomoto pork belly. Wow! Everything looks absolutely amazing. Personally, beef tongue with just a bit of salt is my #1 favorite when it comes to barbecue. Of course, I also love steak, so honestly, I'm in heaven right now. Do you guys eat barbecue often? What's your favorite cut of meat? Let me know in the comments. By the way, here comes one of my random thoughts again. Recently, I was watching the news and I noticed something interesting. For example, when the headline says something like, "A woman was suddenly attacked," it's written in passive voice. And when you hear it that way, it kind of makes us, the viewers, feel like we need to be extra careful in our everyday lives, as if the responsibility is on potential victims to protect themselves. But if the headline instead said, "A woman suddenly attacked another woman on the street," then the first reaction would be, "Hey, don't attack people." That feels much more direct and fair, doesn't it? So I've been wondering, why do news reports so often use passive sentences rather than clearly saying who did what? Maybe it's to avoid putting too much direct blame on suspects, especially now that social media can spread information so quickly and cause a lot of damage. So, what do you think? Back to the topic of siblings. What kind of things do you guys usually talk about with your brothers or sisters? In my family, all of my siblings have this totally broken sense of humor. Like, if we shared our jokes with other people, they probably won't laugh at all. But when it's just us, we end up cracking up like crazy. Moments like that really make me feel glad I grew up with siblings who share the same weird sense of humor. Honestly, thanks to this weird sense of humor, I've been able to fit in pretty easily in male-dominated spaces too. But sometimes I wonder what would it be like if I also had a sister with the same kind of humor. I think that would be so cool. So yeah, I'm a little jealous of people who have sisters. And next up is the premium Roini Sukiyaki. As you can see, it's beautiful marbled with fat, absolutely packed with flavor. It was incredible. Honestly, I think this was the most melt in your mouth piece of meat I've ever had in my life. This looks insanely delicious. And speaking of sukiyaki, did you know that Tokugawa Yoshinobu, the very last shogun of Japan, is often said to be one of the first Japanese people to eat it? Back then, it was called gyunabe, kind of an early version of sukiyaki. Whoever came up with that idea, I seriously want to thank them. And then here comes the final meat set. 2 specially selected cuts of omi beef with sauce, plus 2 kinds of hormone. All fun? Time to get grilling. Every single piece of meat was just melt in your mouth amazing. Seriously, it was the best. If you ever come to Japan, I really hope you try omi beef at least once. This whole course in Ginza, with all you can drink included, was only 11,000 yen. That's about $75 US. With the yen being so weak right now, I don't think that's too expensive at all. Changing the topic again. You know how at Starbucks overseas, they always ask your name and write it on the cup? Well, in Japan, they don't do that. So whenever I forget about that and go to Starbucks abroad, they ask my name and I say Natsuko, but it almost never gets across. I always end up wishing I had a fake name already. I get called Netsuko or Natsuko over the time. Even in Japan, my name is written with kanji that's pretty tricky to read. So when delivery people come to my house, they'll often ask, "Are you Miss blah 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 blah," with the wrong reading. And I just say, "Yep, that's me." The funny thing is, in Japan, mispronouncing someone's name is considered really rude. At work, if you say someone's name wrong, they, or even people around them, might actually get upset. But me? My name has been misread literally my entire life. And I've never once been angry about it. So I figure I deserve a little extra forgiveness here. Do any of you also have names that people always get wrong? I'd love to hear your stories. By the way, do people outside of Japan usually eat hormone, like organ meats? I always wonder about it. It's kind of funny because in Japan, even something like fugu, pufferfish, which is poisonous, we somehow figured out a way to safely remove the toxins and eat it. I bet people from other countries think Japanese are a pretty crazy bunch for doing that. But honestly, I feel so lucky to have been born in a country with such delicious food. And finally, to wrap things up, we had chilled plum noodles. After all that rich and fatty omi beef, it was the perfect refreshing finish. I'm really happy my brother seemed satisfied too. If you ever come to Japan, definitely try Wagyu for yourself. Alright, that's it for today's video. See you in the next one. Bye!